situation where people will start making caricature of doctors, some of us will resist it. I'm a medical doctor by training. I qualified in 1979. I worked in the clinics and hospitals, salesmanship, medical officer, went for in-service training, health system management, and I became a health system manager and administrator. So when I'm talking, I talk from the vantage point of this wealth of experience I've gathered in that industry. I don't also want to talk that I was a governor and managed health institutions with my commissioner for health. I don't want to talk about being a senator, and with Dr. Okowa, Senator Dr. Okowa, we authored the Health Act, the Health Bill 2013 that you are now seeing in the 7th Senate. So when the young ones are overstepping bounds, it worries us. I will crave your indulgence. Get back to that, your timelines of actions that you displayed here, so that I can talk about them seriatim as the conciliator who have mediated between them and their employers. I'm not their employer.
That's it on your screen.
I'm not the employer. Look at it. That's the timeline.
Yes.
31st January. They issued notice and told us that we have these demands. I called them. We held a first meeting in February and now invited them to come with the employers for reconciliation. Because what I did with them in that February was like I had one side only. So I had to bring the government side. And we did meetings culminating in signing of a memorandum of action on 31st of March 2021. Their president fell ill during the discussion and left. And his deputy and the secretary signed the memorandum of action. And they were happy. And we agreed that let us now look at this memorandum of action. By 1st of April, they declared a strike and went on strike. Had to bring them back. And you can see we did an addendum. You see, 1st of April. Because I remember it's an April Fool Day.
Yeah.
So I thought the announcement that they were on strike was like an April Fool phenomenon. But they really went on strike and people were dying. I acted quickly, brought them back. They said, oh, this area of the memorandum of action, this and that area, we don't agree with them. I said, fine. You have a right to rediscuss. But you shouldn't have gone on strike. This is the same thing we're not going to achieve now. So by 9th of April, you can see there, we did an addendum to the areas of their concern and fixed timeline for those things to be actualized. And they were all actualized. Their residency training fund was paid. The issue of house officers addressed. Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, because it's a new modality that was put in place to reside the recruitment of house officers after they have been sworn in. That's when you are now a new medical doctor and given temporary license to practice medicine by the MDCA, Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. You are now to be placed in hospitals. This is to help make sure that everybody gets a place. So those who don't know somebody, who don't know senator, who don't know minister, it's done something that is done online by Medical and Dental Council to preserve everybody.
So, Minister,
so
all the demands that I read out, were they the correct demands that they asked for?
They were the demands that were corrected, they called for, But I'm now going to tell you what have been done on each and every one of them. That's why I want it back on screen.
All right, so let's take the demands one after the other.
Yeah, take them.
Minister, you remember, I mean, I can vividly remember the conversation. There were 12 of the demands.
Yes.
That we had the conversation on in April this year when I invited you on the program.
Good.
And out of the 12 demands, has any of those demands been met?
Wonderful, yes.
All of the demands?
The residency trading fund have been released, 3.something billion, and they submitted names, and this payment started. The house officers have been captured and then been paid. They only said that about 114 house officers from that screen have not been paid. Nationally, out of 40-something hospitals that are federal government owned, we're not talking about state-owned hospitals. The state-owned hospitals are different. State-owned health centers, they're different. But they will capture everything and heap them on the federal government, which is very bad. But 114. Some of them are people who have supplied details that are not correct. Maybe their MDCN numbers have not been well articulated. Their BVN not properly done, or there's a mistake in their bank statement, or even in the name. So 114 is an infinitesimal number.
But, Minister, I mean, the whole story of the house officers...
They have been told to submit these people.
But the whole story of the house officer that you raised, the part of it is that that money has been paid. But you have the government has also removed them from the scheme of service. Why did you remove them from the scheme of service? Because house officers are now to only receive allowances.
House officers have never been on scheme of service. I did housemanship. You cannot be on scheme of service. Let me explain to you what that means. They don't understand it. Scheme of service is a career path. I can do housemanship and decide not to practice medicine. Yes. So why do you place me on it?
But the scheme of service isn't it supposed to let them be on the salary scale?
Wait a minute. They are still on the salary scale. That's the point I was going to make to you.
But they are going to be getting only allowance. That's one of the grievances of the resident doctors.
No. The issue is that they are not the only ones doing internship. Pharmacists do internship. Today, as we speak. Nurses have also said they are doing internship. They are there. Physiotherapists are doing internship. Opticians are doing internship. These other people, when they go on that internship and join the service, they want you to take into account that 1 year of housemanship or internship. Are you with me?
Absolutely.
But there's a salary wage structure that has captured that entry point for them. MSS1 for doctors. They receive the money. It doesn't touch their allowances, nothing. So state governments have been bombarded by people who now say, we have done housemanship here, you must put us into the state service and condone that our 1 year. Condonation means adding it to our year of service. Whatever we serve, put 1 year for us. They want to use it to get seniority. That's what public servants do. So commissioners for health from the 36 states and FCT, in their council on establishment, which the head of service is chairman or chairperson, requested and asked that a circular be done on this, that interns, not intern medical doctors,
because
the interns,
all the interns in the medical system, have now been removed from the scheme of service.
Correct. I mean, that 1 year.
So it's not only the not only a health officer. I agree, but it's part of the grievance of the resident doctors.
It can be a grievance. The thing doesn't touch your pocket. You earn your money. You earn all your allowances. They are defined in your wage structure. You do your call duty as a house officer, you get it.
But the bottom line, Honorable Minister,
yes,
is that it looks at the end of the day that it's only allowance that they are getting.
How?
And that's what the resident doctors interpreted it.
No,
that removing all the medical interns
I have secular
from the scheme of
secular
service.
sent on this because immediately they raised the alarm. I contacted the head of service. I said, you cannot do this. You can remove the allowances. And the woman showed me what they have done. And we looked at it. She even discussed it with the NMA. Everybody agreed. There's no loss.
So you don't agree with them on that point?
No. They're just trying to give a dog a back name. So they want to increase their catalog of demands.
So what about the insurance for medical officers?
Again,
when you said the 19 doctors that died during the who contacted COVID-19,
nobody prays for anybody to die.
Have they been paid?
In the course of
Have the families been reached out to?
I'm telling you now that the federal government have this insurance in place in 2020. And even this 2021. In the last Federal Executive Council about 2 months ago, the insurance was renewed. About 9-point-something billion premium. At the last meeting on 22nd of July, because when they started talking about that these things are not being done, they said they want to come on courtesy call to me. And I granted them a courtesy call because they're my friends. They're my friends. I work with them. I advise them. I'm like a father to them. And I brought people from head of service, health, salaries, incomes and wages commission, accountant general's office, government side. Yes, on this issue, what have you to say? They tendered evidence, head of service. Tendered checks, photocopies of checks. They have paid to teaching hospitals for claims made. And that's on the premium and the payment made by the insurance companies. 95 checks.
Okay.
I now told them, I want these claims to be matched against these 19 persons. So NAD, supply the 19 families. Supply them so that even if it means giving preferential treatment in the payment of claim to these 19, because 1.something billion has been paid, let us at least deal with this 19. And we agreed. So they are now supposed to supply the names of
federal government is ready, but they have not supplied the information that you need.
They have not.
So it's confirmed that you have not paid the 19 families.
I won't know because there is a list submitted, and they were told to first go cross-check that these 19 are not in this particular list. A list of about 195 names or so, families. So they have to go and they cross-check first with Ministry of Health, who are the direct employers. And then if they're not there, the respective hospitals where these fatalities occurred will supply next of kin. Because you're not paying any already. You're paying families who have those people that died. Otherwise, federal government has done its own bit. We have paid the insurance companies for that group life insurance.
But there's no way you can confirm whether or not those 19 families are received.
NAD is supposed to reach me back.
So you are putting the blame back to the NAD.
After a meeting of 22nd July, where this instruction was given, go and vet and capture how many of these 19 names are in the payments already done. Okay. Those who are not there, we'll give them accelerated treatment.
So the Minister of Health said something yesterday, which the resident doctors found very untrue, according to the interview that the resident doctors granted yesterday.
What is it?
They said that the minister said 7 out of those demands are state affairs. And from the conversation that we're having with the resident doctors, all of these demands that were listed are federal government responsibilities.
No, a lot of them are state affairs.
Okay, let's look at the demands again.
Yes.
And maybe we should be able to identify which of them it's... if you can put up the demands of the resident doctors again. From the withdrawal of circular removing house officers from the scheme of service, that's one of the demands. That head of service, that's a federal head of service.
Now, the place they have problem is that they said Lagos State or one other state read the circular and are now using it to, is it amputate their salaries or allowances? I don't know which one are they talking. But this is not a federal issue anymore because the head of service office have issued a circular re-emphasizing the aspect of what is being said here, the intent and purpose of this circular. She has done so. She has also even done a press release.
Minister,
So
the question, when the resident doctors have made to look like their grounds for going on strike is unfounded, that they should be talking to the state government, is what I want us to identify here.
Like this one now.
The first one.
This one now, they have to talk to the Lagos state government.
No, but this one, the withdrawal of the circular removing house officers, we talked about the issue of the house officers just now.
Yes.
And you were explaining, but it does look like it also affects the federal government.
No. We have not done any removal of anything because there's nothing to remove.
Okay, so let's look at the second one. Let's look at the second, because there are 10 of them on the screen. That 114 house officers are yet to be paid about 3 to 6 months.
And I told you that that's from MDCN, placing house officers in centers and payment coming from Accountant General's office. That if you don't give a correct BVN, if you don't give a correct bank account, it's going to affect you.
But it's a federal government responsibility.
Sure.
So we are identifying one after the other
and
which one is state and which one is federal.
Correct. We said bring the names of these 114 officers.
So the third one, the doctors on GiveMe's platform are yet to be paid between 3 to 7 months salaries. The UCTA, they gave examples, and all the examples they gave here are federal government institutions.
Correct.
Okay, let's go to the fourth one.
This one is already handled too.
But it's not perfected.
It's within them.
So
because like ASU, I form a standing committee between Accountant General's office, the particular union in question, and the employers, Ministry of Education or National University Commission. And it's working smoothly.
But it's not perfected. So when they say that they are demanding for it, that means they've given you from April this year. But that's not been perfected, Honorable Minister. You made these promises. It's still in progress, is it?
We discussed this in July 22 and agreed that standing committee should go and report back to me when they finish the work. They are not finished. 22nd July is just the other day. And by 2nd of August, you go on strike.
All right. Let's look at the fourth, the fifth, and we go to the. I just wanted us to tick the boxes and see which one is the federal government.
I enjoy it.
So the capturing of and migration of their members from GiveMe to IP's payment platform. That's also, from my understanding, is federal government, isn't it? Minister?
Is interwoven with the other. It's the same thing. There's a standing committee.
What do you say? We're saying the items are federal government.
Yes.
So the fifth one is that medical residency training funds yet to be paid for 2020 and 2021. That's the federal government.
That's a big lie. 2020 it was paid. And even in payment of 2020, the resident doctors injected names of people who are not qualified to receive the money. They also, we have some of their members who have finished residency program left that were also paid because they supplied the names. But now, some of their members now didn't get because those who are not fit and proper persons to get this money have taken the money. They pledged, the resident doctors pledged that they will get those people to do the refund. You know, government and how it works. You have not expended that 2020 well. 2021 is captured in the service-wide vote because it's one of their problems that they say they have. Budget Office of the Federation tendered evidence that is in 2021, supplementary.
Right. Yeah, so
under service-wide vote. So once they reconcile the 2020 utilization, expenditure, because government insists on retirement of money given to you.
All right.
So once they reconcile it, the other one will be released.
This very exercise is for us to just look at this and identify which one is federal. Because we are due for a break. That's the fifth one.
Yes.
Agreed also that fifth one is still federal government.
Yes.
So let's look at the sixth one.
Yes.
Acute shortage of residents in all tertiary health institutions in the country with its attendant burnout effect on their members. This is caused by the ongoing brain drain and made worse by the bureaucratic bottlenecks in employment in Nigeria.
I don't know what
that doesn't look like a state.
I don't know.
Well, it's part of on their list that is sent to you. So that's federal government also.
No.
They say on the eighth one.
All centers are doing recruitment of resident doctors now. Last week.
Minister, just quickly. So the 8th one is salary shortfalls from 2014, 2015, and 2016. That's from my understanding. It's also federal government. Hazard allowance is still 5,000 naira, despite several meetings and the agreement.
Meetings, they are the ones who drew the meeting back.
And the issue of the insurance.
The federal government has on hazard allowance 37.5 billion. I'm coordinating that meeting on behalf of the Presidential Committee on Salaries, which I co-chair with the Minister of Finance. I've held 6 meetings. We had 2 meetings. It was at the 3rd meeting that the doctors made a vote-face and said they want payment compartmentalized into 4.
All right,
on
Minister,
the MSS scale.
we are due
so
for a break.
Who do you blame?
Yeah, Minister, we are due for a break.
Yeah.
So what the essence of going through this list is to identify which is state and which is federal. Out of the 10, it was only 1 that you were able to identify as state.
No, go on.
But let's take a break and we'll come back to it, Minister.
Yes.
And when we return, we get more on the stance of the federal government and the explanation of the Ministry of Labor on the doctor strike and its attendant consequences. Join us again, everyone.
The center is purposely established in order to provide these services that are examinations, medical examinations, and investigations that were not provided for in Kano as well as the entire Northwest region. It's equipped with modern technological equipment in terms of radiological services. We have MRI 1.5 Tesla. We have digital X-ray as well as 4D ultrasound equipment. The importance of the center cannot be overemphasized. Just within 1 year, the center attended to thousands and numerous patients as well as medical examinations. NKDC is established in order also to provide these healthcare facilities as a discounted price.
This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Everyone for staying with us right here on Politics Today Channels Television. The Minister of Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, is our guest tonight. And it's about the resident doctor strike, the nationwide strike of the National Association of Resident Doctors that we're talking about, and which they say is total and indefinite. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your time tonight.
Yeah.
We've been able to identify that most of their demands are federal government responsibilities.
No.
We listed, we went through it.
Yes.
I mean, because of time, we won't have to go over it again. But it was only one that you are able to say, okay, that is state. But all of those 10 are basically federal government responsibility. But
most of them have been treated. The ones that are federal government responsibility have been treated. That's what I'm telling you.
But not perfected.
No.
What
do you mean by perfected? If I did something 95% for you, 95% is distinction.
You said you made payments to those the families of the late doctors, but they said they've not received. The family said they've not received it.
No. That's not what I said.
What I'm saying is that the federal government...
insurance is for health workers, not only for doctors. Is it only doctors that are prone to COVID attack?
No, but we're talking about the doctors now.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So they brought a list. They have 19 doctors that died in different centers. The Ministry of Health, in conjunction with the Office of Head of Service, brought a list of families that have been paid under this insurance scheme, Group Life, which is a part of the PENCOM Act that government must do, or any employer must do, group life insurance for our worker. So this is what is there. So out of these 19, we have taken back the list at our 22nd July meeting and said NARD, Ministry of Health, Office of Head of Service, Service Welfare, go and vet this your payments and see how many of the 19 doctors' families are there. Those, if you vet, and you discover that it is 10, we then now we have 9 left. That 9 will give accelerated payment schedule to be done. So that's the point I made. So if you list anything that is federal government here, and it has been 95% done or 100% done, so why do you list it as a breach?
They say that
cannot be a
they
breach.
wanted to meet you since they gave out this notice that they have not met them. Why haven't you met them?
No, I won't meet them anymore. I won't, because I have other things to do. I did 2 conciliations again yesterday. Am I going to be wasting time with them?
Do you count it as a waste
they
of
said
time?
they were happy. They said they were happy. If you look at the media, they were praising me and said that I am kind, I'm compassionate. They are advising public servants in Nigeria to behave like me. Because I took the issue seriously. And where government officials are wrong, I tell them. And I give them an ultimatum and time frame to perfect or do whatever it is. So why do you go on strike 1 week after? You can't.
So on that basis, you won't meet them?
No, I'm not meeting
But
them.
they're saying that this strike is indefinite.
No problem. I have other tools permitted for me by labor laws, and I will do it.
Is it true that you have invoked Section 143 of
Section
trade
43.
dispute? Section 43
I
of
invoked
the
it
trade?
this afternoon.
You did?
Yes.
Did? Have you
This
communicated
afternoon.
with them?
I've communicated it to NAD.
And what
They
does
will
that
not
mean?
receive money for the period they're on strike. And it will never count as a period for pensionable position in their career.
Is that a fair position?
That's what it is. And even the ILO supports it because they're on essential services. They're not supposed to go on strike without notifying me 15 days to that day of strike.
But they
didn't.
said they notified
No,
you.
they did-
If you look at the
they
timeline that we
said-
showed you,
no,
Minister,
no.
there was a notice that they
That's
wrote.
a meeting. That's a meeting. There's what we call trade dispute notification. TDN. I'm not a labor man. I'm a labor officer now.
No, but
there's a TDN. They have not done that.
If you look at the
They sent
history of the conversation.
Listen. I guide you. They sent me a communique of their meeting in Umuahia, and that communique listed the grievances and resolutions. That's not a notification. It's a resolution of a meeting. I'm not part of the meeting. So they must communicate me directly.
So legally, you've not received any notification from
Up
them.
to as we speak, I have not received any notification.
But-
And that is why I'm invoking Section 43 of the Labour Act on withdrawal of services, right to strike, and the right to protect the employer and their patients.
So
I have to.
If that happens and they still not call off the strike, what would you do?
No, I have other. Don't worry. Don't worry yourself.
No, because in that letter that you wrote to NAD, there are other provisions that you have stated to them.
Oh, you saw the letter?
I'm privy to some information, Honorable Minister.
Okay. Things will happen next week. Let them wait.
So is that a
Because
threat
they're
to
taking
them?
government for a ride. And it's wrong. They're playing with people's lives. It's wrong. My children are medical doctors. They are. And I want them not to be dealing with this nonsense strike.
But if the government is not,
how can you be doing that?
even if the government is not making true to his own promise and keeping its own side of the bargain.
No, I'm not telling you that government has made true to its promise.
No, we've listed some of these
They
things.
are aware that the 2020 payment for residency training fund had some problems. Those problems are criminal in nature, anyway. Supplying names of people who are not in service. But we decided to gloss over all those things. And in any case, it is on this program that I told you that residency doctors in Nigeria are being paid something while in training. For exams, for books, for this and that. And they denied it. That is the residency training fund they're talking about. So the 2021 residency fund, evidence was produced by Budget Office of the Federation that is in the service-wide vote. Government doesn't pay you money unless you retire the one earlier on giving you. That's what they call it, retirement. That the money was used effectively and efficiently for the purpose it's designated. They know it. So once that area is cleaned up, they will release their money. It's there.
So you're
But the money will now be released to the college.
so
We
you're
have devised that it should go to the college and not to the institution anymore because of the malfunctioning we saw the last time.
so your resolve now is no work, no pay.
Why not? It's
And
the
you're-
law. I didn't make it.
You sort of threaten them that they might lose their jobs.
Listen, if you go to ILO principles at work, it guarantees a worker right to strike. But it has consequences. Your employer, on essential services in particular, has a right to replace you. He will also withdraw your money, your remuneration, and use it to pay those he has so acquired at those periods you were away. So, Nigeria, being a member of ILO, in our Trade Dispute Act 2004, Section 43, it is there to protect both the worker and the employer.
So all these instruments, you are going to put it into effect fully, 100%.
I will.
Okay, so now
Next week, I will escalate it because the conciliation has failed.
So-
and if the law says if conciliation fails, on my own side, I can move it up. Industrial Arbitration Panel or National Industrial Court of Nigeria.
So you're giving them 7 days,
Yes.
from what I understand.
Yes.
And 7 days started from today.
No, from Monday.
No, but you asked them to resume today. The minister told them to
They
resume
started
today.
a strike on Monday, which is 2nd. My 7 days terminates on this Monday.
Next Monday.
Yes.
So after which you sack them.
I will invoke other things that are allowed by law.
But I mean, based on your
I
understanding,
didn't say sack. Other things that are permitted by law.
like what?
Their employer have a right to replace them.
That's a
For
sack.
the period
That's an
they were away.
interpretation
No,
to a sack.
it doesn't matter what you want to term it.
When you remove someone from his work, that's sack.
Maybe you can do that on ad hoc basis. You can use what they call locum doctors. You can use
But
medical
where would you get these locum doctors from?
Don't worry yourself.
Honorable Minister, because these doctors, resident doctors, from what I understand, they form about over 40% of the population of the doctors in Nigeria.
How many doctors do you know are outside that want to go into residency program and are not unable to go in? How many? I know.
So that's on the premise in which
I know.
you want to discard
so
these ones.
if you want to get the statistics, ask the CMDs to tell you. They apply, I know. National Hospital conducted interviews just, is it this week or last week? I don't know, but they have a place for residents for about 80 residents or thereabout. They have about 3,000 applications.
So you have people on the standby to take
There
their
are many
jobs.
people on the standby.
But are you aware that one of the grievances of these resident doctors is the state of the medicine practice in Nigeria and the issue of brain drain? There is a number of Nigerian doctors trained here who are willing to leave the country every day, and they live in droves.
They live in droves because the right things have not been done here, even in terms of their own employment.
Whose fault is that?
We train medical doctors, including me, at the expense of ordinary Nigerians. Yes, I was trained. I was on scholarship. At a point, I even enjoyed 2 scholarships. You know how much it costs to train a medical doctor abroad, America or UK? You know how many of them borrow money to pay? They go to the bank, borrow money and train themselves, and for the next 20 years, they're forever paying back. That's why somebody can get up in Nigeria, pack his bag, because he has been trained at government expense, at the people's expense, from national budget, and then walk away and go elsewhere to give the expertise. And people are clapping. It's wrong.
Nigerians are not happy about it.
It's an unpatriotic
Because,
act.
I mean, if you go to Texas in the United States, go to the UK, in several other places in Europe, there are a lot of Nigerians who are practicing. In Saudi Arabia,
Wonderful.
a lot of Nigerians are, but that's not a good thing. Minister.
They received free training.
But that's not the point.
They
Minister.
received it.
The point is that it's a sad story for them leaving the country.
Shall-
And if government is not providing the right premise and the right environment for them to work, isn't that a sad
the
story on its
government
own?
have done much in terms of providing the equivalent environment. Federal government in particular, I can tell you. I know what the budget is for the past 25 years to 30 years. I worked in Federal Ministry of Health. I was in Department of Hospital Services, that's in charge of federal medical centers and teaching hospitals. So I know what health budget is in terms of doctors training. I supervised that desk for 2 years or 2.5 years. I supervised residency training. So what I'm telling you is that health, as a matter of fact, is on concurrent list. It's bifurcated. State governments are doing health or supposed to do health. But everything here is federal. Nobody is talking about state hospitals and whatever.
Because, I mean, the reason why I brought up that issue is because of the warning and the threat that you have given to these resident doctors.
I'm not giving them a threat.
No.
I'm going to the law. We're under the rule of law.
You are dangling.
There's nothing else I can do.
Okay, so now the question
if
is...
you finish conciliation with me, shake hands with your employers, and thank everybody, and we thank you, and you now go to your NEC meeting, there is preponderance of state resident doctors there in the meeting. And this will have been 10 months. They said, oh, my hair is owing them 17 months. Some people, IMO, 8 months, just like that. And you now, because you have preponderance of those persons, they are not benefiting from residency training fund, which the federal government is doing for their own people. They are not benefiting from COVID, especially inducement, which was one of the biggest paid here in Africa, because labor ministers in Africa, we compared notes. Then you allow those doctors from the states to overwhelm you, and then you pass a vote of going on strike 7 days after a meeting. The same thing they did after meeting with me on 31st of March. They went on strike on 1st April. And later on came back to now start dotting some things they say they don't like as an addendum, and with produce that addendum on the 7th. By the time we are producing this addendum, they have been on strike for 10 to 12 days. And people who are not well-to-do to pay for private treatment, who rely on public hospitals, a lot of them have died. A lot of them cannot be accounted for. And so, you say it's a matter I will treat with kid glove. No, my gloves
So you have invoked the stick now. You've used the carrot based on your explanation. Now is the time to use
I will use it, and by next week, if they're not back, I will condone the 10 11 days that they did in April into the no work, no pay, because they didn't work. And they want to receive the money, or they have received the money. We deduct it. Because taking money for work not done is corruption. Yes, no, it's not done anywhere in the world.
So, Minister, what is the federal government doing on this matter of brain drain? Are you worried about the fact that Nigerians, young Nigerians trained here, are leaving the country based on the environment they say is not conducive to practice?
Excuse me, Sheon, I have dealt with this matter. If the federal government of Nigeria had increased the training fee for undergraduate medicine, and now you go and borrow money from the bank and pay your school fees for medicine, and by the time you finish, you have incurred a loan from the bank of about 8 to 10 million. You think that person will just get up and carry his bag and move? That's one of the problems. Number two, state governments have not done what they're supposed to do. They are leaving everything held to federal government. And people are in the states, they're not talking about it. These doctors are there. NMA in the states are there. Health commissioners are doctors in most places, they are there. So what do you want federal government to do? When our own hospitals, we are kitting them upgrading them on a daily basis. We have done 35 molecular labs in every place, 36, plus the existing ones. Oxygen plants, 36, plus the existing ones. Equipment of all sorts. Plenty of billions have gone into health.
But a lot of people still cannot take medical attention here in Nigeria. They still have to travel abroad. A lot of politically exposed people are still having to travel out on medical tourism.
It depends on you. Me, if you have the means and you want to do second opinion abroad, why not? It's permitted. I have my daughters here. I deal with them. But that doesn't mean that anytime I want to do a medical checkup abroad, that I don't do that. I do that. I've been doing medical checkup for myself.
So you are saying that everything is perfect about the Nigerian medical sector, that nobody needs to travel out?
I have not said not everything is perfect. I have said that vis-a-vis what we have on ground and the situation, the political situation we have, where we are practicing a federation and where health is on concurrent list, the federal government have decided its own functions well, for me.
So based on that, for an average Nigerian, there's no need to travel abroad for medical attention. Is that what you're saying?
What are you going abroad to do?
So every
possible is here.
Is here. Every possible thing that needs to be done medical-wise in medical science is here in Nigeria. Can be dealt with.
What are you talking about? Yes.
The most sophisticated of them?
No. The most sophisticated of them, no. Well, after all, Nigerians have not been going to the moon. The Americans are going to the moon.
That's not medical science, but I'm talking about medical science.
Yes, so I'm using it to tell you that there's some advancement in medicine that are not yet here. Yeah, there is.
But things, I mean, so in the last 2 or 3 years, you think that things have so improved that Nigerians now need to stay at home?
I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm telling you that on a good note, on an average note, on a comparative note, medical treatment here is fairly okay, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, at least if you visit the federal medical centers. So I use the National Hospital here. You can go. My card is there. I use the State House Clinic for my eye. It's there. I use another private hospital here, and every year I correlate everything and do my annual check.
Let's wrap up the conversation around the resident doctors. You said in the conversation today that they're like your children.
Yes. And I said I have two house officers.
Practicing medical doctors.
Yes, my son and my daughter.
Yeah, so if they are like your children, do you have any word of admonishment for them to come back to work?
They should go back to work. They should go back to work.
Are you going to?
I'm a fair assessor. I'm a very fair person in assessing things. They should be able to tell you. In government side, vis-a-vis the NRD meetings, I admonish government officials. I take extra time. I have taken extra time to go to Accountant General's office to see about some of their complaints. The Accountant General nearly flew out of the window when he saw me come there. And I advised NAD, put up a standing committee like ASU have done. ASU people know whatever is going on in budget office, in Accountant General's office. That's why we have less friction now. And they're happy. I have also created labor desk in all these social ministries, education and health.
Interestingly,
Yes.
Minister, I thought I would be able to touch on ASU, but time will not permit us.
No,
but
ASU is quiet. We're okay. We're.
You said this about the resident doctors the other time. Now we are back here. I hope I will not be back at this kind of discussion.
Resident doctors,
on the case of the ASU.
doctors are on a competition.
Which will?
Every president of medical doctors that come, if he doesn't go on strike, then he's not known. He doesn't have a tenure.
Okay.
And that is what I win them off from.
Okay. So
they should not be drinking that milk. I will remove it from their mouth. Yes. They should stop striking at every... If 10 of your members don't receive a salary due to some minor adjustment or misinformation on the platform, you go on strike.
Honorable Minister,
If your people in the state hospitals don't receive residency training fund, which is an act, and the state governor or government have not done it, instead of people going to picket that hospital or that government house or going on strike there, you come and do a national strike.
Honorable Minister, we need to go now.
Rivers State Governor has invoked Section 43 before me because he's paying. And why should people in Rivers go on strike?
So
there are so many state governments like that.
There's a question I'd like to ask you.
No, we won't do it.
Minister, I have 1 more minute, just about 50 seconds actually.
Yes.
Before, because of what I hear about Southeasterners in the federal cabinet.
Yes. What did you hear?
Is it all looking good for an Igbo presidency in the APC in 2023?
Why did you particularize it with
No, I'm asking because I know you're a senior politician in this cabinet.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking you. And you are one of those who said that it will be good for the rotation to go to the Southeast in 2023.
Yes, I said so.
But is it looking good?
Well, it's too early in the day to say whether it's looking good or not. But I reiterate what I told you, that to enable us bury the ghost of Biafra and the Nigeria-Biafra civil conflict, if we move that to the south, and the Southerners they are patriotic enough, they are visionary enough to allow the Southeast to produce, or allow the Igbos.
Does the body language of the president look like it? Am I allowed for that?
The president is not a hardcore politician. So on these matters, you can't read his body language very easily.
We need to leave it at that. Senator Dr. Chris Ngige, Honorable Minister for Labor and Employment, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you,
your time for coming.
You're welcome.
That's our show for today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. We'll see you again 8 p.m. on Sunday. Bye-bye.
Go big and live stream world-class football and more from SuperSport, the biggest Africa Magic and Emmy award-winning series, blockbusters and kid shows. Go big for less and get Showmax Mobile or Showmax Pro Mobile, plus 2.5 gig MTN data included at a great price that suits you. That's 25 hours of sports, series, movies, and kid shows with a 1-month Showmax subscription with 2.5 gig MTN data. Dial *131# or visit showmax.com/MTN now.